Alright, so, welcome everybody to our second general body meeting of the spring semester. We're happy to have you here, and this time we're trying out something a little different. We want this to be an interactive presentation. We have some activities ready for you, have a presentation ready for you, and our main topic today is, as you can see, the importance of instruction. So, there's a lot of questions that we can dive into. Why are tech communicators important in the workforce? What makes them so essential in what they do? How can something as simple as instructions be the difference between success and failure when you're doing something? Or safety and health, or understanding? And we're just going to dive into all of that. And we have some workshops ready for you where we can just give ourselves a go at making instructions and seeing examples of good and bad ones, just so we can really develop our skills to identify those things as tech writers. So again, we're excited to have you with us. So the agenda for today, we're going to be splitting this up into three different sections. We have first the PB&J instruction challenge, then we're going to move on to a short presentation on the importance of instruction, and then at the end we're going to have one big group workshop activity. And we'll be going into more of those as we progress. So first off, we have the PB&J instruction challenge. So I'll pass that on to you, Claire.
Hi everybody, my name is Claire and I'm going to be presenting the PB&J Instruction Challenge, if you couldn't tell by the slide. So basically we're going to create some instructions and we're going to see what's going on with them. John, if you can go on to the next slide, please. All right, so the premise of this challenge is we are going to write instructions for somebody who's never heard, seen, tasted a peanut butter jelly sandwich in their entire life. So most of us know exactly what a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is. Therefore, we have that knowledge where it's like, oh, you just do this. Well, not everybody has that, oh, you just do this knowledge. So what we're going to do is we're going to write those instructions and we're going to write them for somebody who's clueless about it. And we're not going to assume that the person knows a single thing about the ingredients, the utensils, anything involving a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And the goal is to do this in 10 steps or less. So for this challenge, we're going to be going into breakout rooms in a moment. We're going to have 15 minutes to create them. And if you're done before then, you can leave the room, come back to the main room, and we can all just hang out. And then we're going to go over what we've done. The groups that you're going to be going into is the group that you're going to be presenting your instruction with. And you don't actually have to present something crazy. I know a lot of people don't like public speaking, but we're going to just share them in the chat and then go from there. So John, whenever you're ready to break us into the breakout rooms, I think we're all going to get on into that. Unless anybody has any questions first. Going once? Twice? All right, cool.
All right, sounds good. So I'll be splitting this up into groups. We got 8 people here, so we can do 2 groups. Groups 4. Does that sound good? Yeah, let's do that. Good. One second while I get it set up. And here we go. In just a second, you should get a prompt to join your breakout room. And then we'll meet back here by, let's say, 5. Yeah, let's say 5 o'clock. By that time, we get back into the main room and then go on with the rest of the presentation. So I'll open up those rooms now. All right, get the prompt, so just click join and you'll be there.
Oh, is it us? Because we're about to make the best instructions ever.
Ooh, yes, we are.
We're doing, yeah, ranking good ones.
Anybody want to be in charge of writing them out?
Oh, I didn't reset the timer for the breakout room. It's still 1 minute. Okay, you guys want to make some instructions in 20 seconds? We got this.
Here we go.
All right. Okay, perfect. All right, we got get the bread, get the butter, knife, jelly, other slice of bread. You have 5 seconds.
Bread and knife?
You have 3 seconds to write all of this.
Right now?
2 seconds.
And butter. And a knife.
We failed.
We'll be
We're gonna
back.
make the worst sandwich ever. Okay, you're back.
It literally
John.
All right, technical
And then everybody
difficulty.
else is like scrambling, like, oh my god.
What if that was just a pop quiz? Like, psych, you only have 1 minute. I just forgot to
Yeah,
reset
like
the
those
time.
minute to win it. It's a minute to win it challenge.
Yeah.
1 minute to come up with 10 steps.
Yeah. All right. Once everybody gets back, I'll increase the time so that we actually have until 5.
You're ruining my cred, man. You said 15 minutes.
I cheated y'all with time.
Just kidding.
This is why we got test rounds.
Mm-hmm. And then some more testing.
Let's wait 1. All right, everybody's back. So that wasn't intentional. We didn't just want to drop you in and give you 1 minute. I forgot to reset the timer on the breakout room. So now we get until 5 o'clock. Just give me a few seconds. That will be a fun just activity though. See how much you can do in a minute. Okay. All right, here we go. I'll give like 12 minutes, so we go until 5. And there we go. There we go.
Oh no, did we lose Claire?
Oh no, we did. We did lose
switched.
there.
You put the C's.
I did. Okay, Caitlin, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to export
Okay,
you.
we're happy to have you, Caitlin.
Do we want to exile Caitlin or Kiefer?
Caitlin, where do you want to be? We'll make you decide.
I'm fine with just staying. I don't Claire cares too much.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's switch it up. All right, cool. So,
I have a pen or a pen and a pad of paper to offer.
Good plan.
I can write if needed. Unless anyone else is dying to write.
I can't.
I understand.
true.
I literally just can't. I have food in front of me.
Well, I assumed you were just being like, I don't know how to write.
No, I'm illiterate too.
Fine.
Then you're in the perfect club.
Yeah.
That will never hinder your ability to participate in this club.
Thank you. I feel so welcomed.
Always welcome. We will teach you how to read and write. We got this. So, where to start? So, someone who's completely new to PB&J.
Uh-huh.
Well, first they'd have to know all the ingredients, that's for sure.
Yeah. Would that count as part of the steps, though?
I think so.
I like gather peanut butter, jelly, bread. At least 2 slices.
Yeah, that sounds good. It's a very good
Alrighty.
stretch.
Alrighty, gather peanut butter. Do we need to be any more specific, like than peanut butter jelly, grape jelly? Well, anyone can use different jelly. Just jelly.
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah, we
the
have to go-
point of the thing where it's like they don't even know what anything is, so we have to like really appeal to the senses, right? Like grab the purple thing and then
I think we're assuming they can read labels, but probably not much beyond that. Like I think like telling them what ingredients to get is smart.
okay. No, that's good because I did this assignment once and they're like, they don't know what anything is. They don't know what peanut butter is or jelly. I'm like, oh, okay, that's hard.
Sorry to interrupt you, Caitlin, though. I saw you were about to answer.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think half the time they're like, if you know for a fact your audience doesn't know what's going on, give them graphics. But since we don't have the capability to do that, we're just gonna
Yeah.
pretend like that's not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, should I say grape jelly and be real? Like just set the cultural convention there, or let it be ambiguous?
Let them find out on their own.
Try different jellies, see which one comes up.
It's
Yeah.
roulette wheel.
All right, we're just
Roulette
doing
PB&J.
Jelly of any kind. Gather peanut butter jelly and at least 2 pieces of bread.
I've never heard
That's-
PB&J described that extreme. Yeah, PB&J.
All right. We've got
That's step 1.
the first.
2 should probably be. I just really hate it because like you have to specify to use the handles of the utensil, but that's not really a step.
Yeah, I think we can give them like benefit of the doubt, if that's the right term, or just like give them some credibility. Like they should know the basics.
Yeah.
Grab a knife. Grab a butcher knife.
Do not.
Use
Put
your
it
right
in-
hand to grab the
Butcher
handle
knife.
of a knife. Wait, wait, that just hit me too. A butcher knife?
Yeah, that's kind of
Let's not use a butcher knife.
a butter knife.
Yeah.
How
Grab
about 2 knives?
2 knives.
Dual
Yeah, because
wielding.
you can't, what's it called, cross-contaminate. So one for the peanut butter and one for the jelly.
Grab 2 knives in parentheses, or grab a knife in parentheses 2 if you don't like touching things. Or like if you're
Touching
working in a
things.
restaurant, you're right. Are they working in a restaurant?
I don't know. I just don't want to mix jelly in my peanut butter or
I don't
put
like it
peanut
either.
butter in my jar of jelly.
We could just say they can grab a napkin, maybe.
Just gather your materials. So just be like a knife, and then maybe in parentheses an extra if you want to.
All right. Grab a butter knife, parentheses 2 if you desire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or should we not give them a choice? Like, no, you can't.
What if they end up with one of the squeezed bottles of jelly?
Oh,
Right.
that's smart.
We gotta say grab a jar of jelly.
No, we're not.
There are rules.
I'm writing in pen. We cannot go back.
Oh, we cannot. If that.
Once it's done, we move on.
Oh
No,
no.
I'm just kidding. I can add stuff.
Should we move on to something next? We got like 6 minutes to get through this.
Grab a butter knife.
We're still on the
Or-
bread. We haven't even gotten to the bread.
No, we've got the bread. We've got gather peanut butter jelly and at least 2 pieces of bread. Then we've got grab a butter knife.
Okay. Grab a butter knife and then start with. I guess order doesn't matter. We can just do either one. Start with the jelly. Dip the knife.
I think
into
you
the
should do
jelly.
peanut butter first.
Ooh.
Because it spreads better. And then the jelly kind of like sticks to it, right?
I mean, you should probably like specify to choose one of the slices of bread first.
Mm-hmm.
Grab a butter knife and put the knife in either peanut butter or jelly.
Yeah.
And then we'll do the next one.
You should probably specify one or the other just because instructions should be simplified as much as possible.
Just to avoid confusion, too.
Okay.
Let's start with the peanut
So
butter.
I vote peanut butter first because that's what I do. Anyone else want to vote?
I'm down for peanut butter.
Definitely peanut butter.
So here comes the next question. Do you put the jelly onto the peanut butter or onto the other slice of bread?
When we put the knife, grab a butter knife and put the knife in the peanut butter. Take a reasonable glob of peanut butter.
Reasonable.
Use the knife to scoop a.
Reasonable glob. I can't think of anything else.
Maybe we can. I don't know. Glob gives me weird vibes when I say it.
Why does no one like glob?
It just sounds. Ew.
Yeah.
Reasonable pile. Like it's just getting worse.
Maybe like
Just say amount.
or like spread, like grab enough to cover the slice of bread.
Or as much as you choose.
Or just say scoop with a knife.
Yeah,
Whatever.
scoop with the knife
$1.
and spread on the bread until
Yes, we need
having
like
satisfied
action
enough.
verbs.
Scoop a. Caitlin?
I was trying to get it quiet so you could talk. Sorry.
Oh, for me? Oh my gosh, thanks. Scoop a. We're gonna skip the adjective peanut butter.
A helping.
Helping? You guys just really don't like glob, but it's the most formative one.
Dollop.
There you go. A dollop. Scoop a dollop.
These instructions are gonna sound so fancy.
Peanut
Scoop a
butter.
dollop.
And spread it on one of the two pieces of bread.
Sorry. Guys, picture in the chat.
It's the Mr. Incredible thing. Dudes, we have like 3 minutes.
So close to making this sandwich. So right now we have scoop a dollop of peanut butter.
We have a PB sandwich.
And people do it differently, right?
Oh my gosh, you killed me with that.
This is what happens when you put all the officers in one room. We don't get anything done.
Yeah, true. We haven't even given.
We got the peanut butter on the
instructions.
bread.
Yeah, we still need to put
We've
given.
got the peanut butter spread on the bread. So maybe like scoop an equal amount of gel. Oh no, we want to wipe the knife.
Yes.
Wipe off the knife.
Then
Scoop.
then scoop a equal amount of jelly.
Or corresponding. In proportion, you know.
Oh yeah.
Wait, how many steps? How many steps are we at now? Just wondering.
We're at 5, I think.
Okay.
An equal amount of jelly, and I'm just gonna say spread it on the
peanut butter.
On the what?
What?
Or do you do it on the other side?
Heresy.
No, you can like. Okay, first off, I use the type of bit that you use a spoon, and you get a large blob, and you kind of spread it that way, but you don't actually touch the peanut butter. I promise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the spoon in itself is so crazy.
It's a bad technique.
Knife on jelly.
We're really gonna use 2 knives.
Dual wielded.
And spread it on one. I don't even know what to say anymore. Scoop an equal amount of jelly and spread it on. I'm gonna say the remaining.
Yeah.
The remaining slice of bread.
Okay,
we'll have to make like variation of the instructions. Be like, if you want to do it Caitlin style, you take a spoon.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to post like the document I had to make into either the Discord or the chat when we get back into the group.
That would be great.
I think it's worth
after the workshop.
I think you're gonna find there's a community out there. Okay, I think we're done. No, we've got to put
Yeah, we've got to put them together.
Yeah.
It's like stick the peanut butter face and the jelly face together.
Yes. Put is such a weird verb. What should I use?
Stick.
Combine.
Combine.
Merge.
Combine.
It becomes one slice of bread.
Yes, they fuse.
Okay, it's combine the 2 slices of bread, peanut butter, and jelly side facing each other.
There we go, yeah.
We did it.
We did it. We're technical communicators.
Easy.
Can we get our degrees now?
Yeah, right?
Put that on a resume.
Yeah.
Capstone.
You can't put it into your portfolio though.
All right, I'll do that.
All right, let's head back to the room.
Oh my god, there's so many peanut butter and jelly memes.
Really?
Not even memes, like, I mean, yeah, kind of.
Like actual memes or like the corny, like PD
No, they're like
Bessie BS?
I made one.
No, it's like a GIF. It's not even a meme. I like the internet.
That is great. Also, sorry, Claire, for shipping you to the other side. I didn't mean to, but...
It's all right. I know you don't like me.
Wow.
I actually let Caitlin decide, and Caitlin said that she wouldn't want to be anywhere but our group.
That's okay. I'll take that.
Also, Sky, that PB&J movie killed me earlier. I just know it was custom made. I think that's the best part.
Oh my god, it's a meme. It's not even a GIF. Wow,
Yeah.
that's
Classic.
good.
I make memes like on the fly.
Mhm.
Yeah, how do you
real.
do that?
I just have a little app on my phone.
Memeify.
What's the app? Is it called like Meme Maker? She can make memes.
I gotta know too. Alright, I'm gonna check the time. So start at 4:40. Instructions. That's like 5 minutes. Instructions. We have until like 5:10, I think. Yeah, let's try to get to 5:10, maybe 5:15 for the good and bad examples too.
All right, cool. So whenever you want to screen share that, then.
Yeah, gotcha.
So this portion now is going to go over how well we implemented the instructions. So if each team, whoever wrote the examples down, wants to take a second to type it into the chat really quick.
Oh, let me mute myself.
While everybody's doing that, anybody have any difficulties that they came into contact with when they were creating the instructions?
Our group had a battle between how to put the jelly on the peanut butter. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the way that was first proposed was you put the peanut butter on the other slice. I mean, you put the jelly on the other slice of bread. Like peanut butter first on one slice, then jelly on the other slice. Although we had some conflict, Caitlin brought up a dangerous idea of putting it right on the peanut butter, the jelly on the peanut butter. I mean, it could work.
Caitlin, blasphemy.
That's good too.
No, because
I do that with crackers.
You don't have to play games of like trying to get the jelly and the peanut butter to like actually. I am not explaining myself well. Like the proportions are better, I guess. I don't know. I mean, in fairness, I put peanut butter on both sides, so it doesn't matter.
What is going on?
You animal. What's wrong with you, Caitlin?
Because my bread is so pathetic that like the jelly will just leak through it. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh no.
That's savage.
Protected bread?
Okay, I'm not even the worst one in my family. My dad used to butter the bread and then put the peanut butter on it. And
No.
then I was just like, ew, stop, please.
Oh gosh.
But what if you put the butter on the outside, fill it, hot PB&J?
I'll accept that. I won't accept it being just cold butter.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was like thinking about it. I was like a grilled cheese, but just no cheese.
Do you really want like melted peanut butter though?
Yeah.
It worked.
I really like
I'm
peanut
the
butter.
weird one.
I didn't call you that weird. I like putting peanut butter on both sides and then doing jelly on one side. That's my thing.
I think it's a brave approach. I think it's brave.
It is great.
I mean, it's not weird. I cannot get past this instruction for some reason. Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
Oh, I missed it. I missed one. That's why. And then here we go. Last one. Sorry, I have to like send it separated. I don't know how to I don't know how to make it go under.
Yeah, same here. It doesn't produce another line.
Maybe shift enter.
Shift enter?
Yeah, shift enter works.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Let me try that. Hold on. This is a test. Oh my goodness, it worked. All right, shit.
Go forth with your new knowledge.
Who was that?
Here's our
Was
last
that
one.
Becca? Thank you.
I'll put this on list of FTC achievements.
Honestly, I feel like we could just do a whole lecture though about keyboard shortcuts because I'm illiterate on that.
A meeting idea, you say?
I like it.
Oh, sorry, that was loud.
So what's the status on the instructions?
Well, Chun's still typing. Let's look over Angela's team. So who all was that? That was Caitlin, Angela, John, Becca. Cool. I really like that you guys numbered your instructions. And I really like that you guys started each instruction with an action verb, telling your audience what to do.
Thank you.
How do you feel about the word dollop?
So I liked glob, but nobody liked reasonable glob. So we ended up with
negative connotation with food.
I think so. I think a glob of something you like.
Nah, it sounds negative, like blob, you know?
Language is weird.
So it's a dollop.
Dollop sounds. I like dollop.
It's probably like actually incorrect in some ways because when I think of a dollop, I think of like a bloop. I think of sour cream.
A bloop of sour cream. All right.
Very technical language. A bloop.
Well, it depends on your audience, right? If you're writing to a child, a little bloop makes sense. If you're writing to a grown man, I don't know how much they'd appreciate the word bloop.
True. Depends on the audience.
Cool. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on this. We spent some time on it, and then we're going to do that workshop later. So real quick, I want to go over an is the proper word I'm looking for, an example that I wrote out previously. So John, if you want to move to the next slide. All right, so some bad instructions. Same scenario. The instructions bullet pointed are take the peanut butter, put it on the bread. So imagine I take my hand into a jar of peanut butter, pull out a fistful of it, and just slam it on the bread. Done.
Punch the bread in the face.
Do the same with the jelly. Same peanut buttery hand, jar of jelly. Scoop it out, throw it on the other side of that piece of bread. Because why not? Same slice. It's all going in. John, disgusting.
Disgusting.
I mean, it all goes to the same place, right? And then make the sandwich. But I don't know what a sandwich is. That's not part of my culture. So I'm just going to take that wet peanut buttery jelly piece of bread and just go to town. And I'm going to hate it. And I'm never going to do PB&J again because it was awful and disgusting. And it's ruined PB&Js for the rest of my life. And that's how I feel about it now.
My goodness. That's so tragic.
So tragic. But that tragedy was deduced from these awful instructions. We're going to move on to this next slide. John, when you get the thing, we need a glossary for the PB&J. We do. All right. So these aren't exactly how instructions have to be, but I noted these as good instructions. So use the butter knife to scoop 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. You're being told how much peanut butter to scoop. You're being told what instrument to scoop it with. It's number 1, so I know to do this first. And then use the butter knife to spread the peanut butter onto one side of one piece of bread. So the person knows only put it on the one side. Don't put it on both because only psychos do that. Try to spread the peanut butter evenly. We don't want it to just be mixed up in the middle. And then we're going to put that one down facing up. Peanut butter side facing up. So you know not to put the peanut butter down onto the plate. Next slide, please. We're going to clean off the peanut butter knife so we don't get our jelly all nasty. We're going to basically do the same instructions as before, noting the order that we're doing them in. We're starting everything with a verb so that the person knows what to do. It's more of an instruction, like, hey, you're doing this, not, oh my goodness, what do I do? What do I do? And last, just pick the sandwich up and enjoy it. I probably could have defined sandwich here better, but we are where we are. And there's a lot of things that can be edited in this, broken down, summed up, doesn't matter. Oh, it does matter. Let me not say it doesn't matter. But there's just a lot of ways that can go with it. And I hope you guys enjoyed my little peanut butter and jelly challenge. I think that's all I have. If you want to move on to the next slide, John. Snaps.
I got you snaps.
I love the snap.
Participating. John, you may take over in your infinite wisdom.
All right. Thank you for bestowing me with your infinite wisdom. I feel grateful. Yeah, that was great. So next up, let's go into the importance of instruction. This is just going to be a bit about, well, just what tech communicators do, why it's essential. And we just from that workshop, we already got a taste into it. Like just how important it can be to be descriptive, instructional. PB&J is one of them, but it can apply to, like, those concepts apply to TechCom as a whole. So let's just get into it. So tech communicators are much more than just interpreters. That's usually the description that you get when you encounter descriptions of what tech communicators are. Like, they interpret information, they convey technical information. Sure, they do that, but they also do a lot more. And their importance in a lot of industries is much more than just that. Because while their main goal is, of course, to produce documentation, instructions, guides, and other media to help the end user, they don't just put it from one place to another, make something complex, something easy to read. They're the ones who are responsible for just bridging knowledge gaps, having non-experts be able to speak to experts, having someone just, as they're doing a task, it's the tech communicator teaching them from, like, beyond the paper how to do something, how to find success. And you can find tech communicators in a lot of places. It's not just in a single industry. They're all over the place, because in the end, good instructions aren't just, okay, 5 steps versus 10 steps, or pictures versus non-pictures. Tech communicators blend writing, design, and technology skills into one craft. So like we were seeing in the PB&J examples, like, you can keep on expanding on that. If you want to make, for example, the perfect PB&J manual, you could have an infographic with each of the 10 steps. If they don't know what a sandwich is, you put a picture of a sandwich. If they want to know what a butter knife is, put a picture of a butter knife. So a great tech communicator really just goes above and beyond to make sure they're not just teaching the user, but they're the ones who make sure the user knows everything that they need to, that they find success. And you can find them, tech communicators, in a lot of places, whether it be engineering, computer science, finance, marketing, and more. So just a couple tips on what exactly makes a document clear and effective. Good documentation is detailed, helpful, and well-structured. If it's just 1 or 2 steps, or just one big block of text, that's not really going to be helping anybody. Or if it does, it's going to be stressful and complicated to read. Nobody's going to want to read something that's like how to assemble this furniture, and you just see a page with no numbering. If it's hard to read, no one's going to like that. But if you spice it up with everything else, like we were talking about, like different steps, details, designed elements that help them out, that's much better technical communication. And for it to be effective, you have to make sure you have the audience in mind. Like, if you're talking to, like, an adult, for example, or someone who just has at least a little bit of experience in the area, the language you use is a lot different than if you were trying to teach, like, a grade school student, or a kid, or someone from, like, to expand on that, what if it's someone from another place than you are, or from another culture? If you're trying to tell them, here's what this device does, what if they've never encountered that? Or here's how to do this thing. What if they've never done that? You have to take the audience into account for sure, because your instructions might be good, but are they good for everybody is the question. And if it's clear and effective, the ideal clear and effective document is good for everybody. It takes those into account. So, one tip, clarity. All good documentation needs clarity, because it can be the difference between success and failure. One example, video games. There are, like, video games continually get more and more complex, involved. You need to have a lot of background knowledge to play some of them as time goes on, and sometimes it feels like if you don't have somebody teaching you, if you're just relying on the instructions or the UI, you're going to fall behind, because look at that example. If you're familiar with World of Warcraft, I pulled this example from there just because as it can be, it's one of those things that's very daunting if you're just looking at this. I know that even me looking at it, I'm like, what do I do? Where do I find help? What are the instructions? If someone were to just put me into this, like if they handed me their computer with this and said, oh, this beat this level for me, beat this boss for me, I'd be like, what do you mean? Where do I start? How do I move? Nothing is clear here. So if your document isn't clear because it has too many elements or it's just walls of text upon walls of text, it's going to confuse people. So a clear document is something that is just effective because it gives the audience room to breathe. Especially if they're not familiar with the topic at hand, they're going to need that room to breathe for sure. And that helps with the learning process, just slowing things down, making things easily identifiable versus very small, very detailed, having a lot of text in one place. Space and pacing is really important in instruction. And substantial content is the next thing that good instructions need. Because if you don't have good content, everything falls apart. If you tell somebody, oh yeah, just do it, like you know how to do it, like it's that easy, it's they're not going to get the hang of it. I actually had a situation like that yesterday where I was talking with someone about this. Like whenever you ask someone how to do something, like for example whistling, for someone who's never done it before, some people just say, "Oh yeah, just do it," just like curve your mouth, and it's that easy. Not that easy. And I'll say it for myself because I had like I've always had a hard time. Like I could barely do it. I've always had a hard time doing it because the only instructions I ever got were, "Oh yeah, just do it. It comes naturally." What does naturally mean? And what does it mean when you say just do it? Like, hello? So you need content to be there, or else the person's going to get confused and they're not going to comprehend what you're saying. If you go straight from step one to the end, not good instruction. Pictured is one of my favorite examples of that. How to draw an L. Draw some circles, draw the rest of the L. Okay, cool. Please help me. No. And last tip is details and diagrams. So if you have a lot of things you need to cover, if they're all important, for example, if it's instructional materials or something, especially in the professional world, if it's something for engineering or something medical, it's going to need a lot of detail that can't be avoided. But you can still make that easier on the reader if you just, again, space it out, spread it out, and add diagrams, add visuals, because that way you add an extra layer of teaching there, because even if it's a lot of information, they can refer to the visual and say, okay, I know, I can see how to do this. I can look at the visuals for a reminder. I can visualize all of these many steps. Because you can toss 50 things at a person. It's not that they're never going to be able to understand those 50 things, but if they have a couple pictures to guide them, it's going to be a lot easier to see, to guide their progress, to commit it to memory, to do all of that. So just some takeaways from all that for good technical documentation. Well, TechCom applies to many places, so you should just always keep that in mind if you're interested in different TechCom careers or why TechCom is important. There are careers in many places. It's important everywhere because it's just a form of teaching people is what TechCom is in the end. And a lot of industries, that's essential to bridge the gap between people. Anti-communicators bear a lot of responsibility because it can be as simple as giving instructions to play a video game, or it could be operating machinery, or doing surgery, or anything that can be at the risk of safety, injury, health, any of that. So TechCom is definitely important, as are the instructions that go with it. And lastly, appeal isn't a deal breaker, but it never does hurt. If you can find a way to make your instructions more appealing, more like more graphically, more graphically appealing, just adding things that make the reader want to read it or feel like they're not just slogging through it. That helps a lot with learning. And if it doesn't feel like you're learning, that's the goal. That is how you know it's something that the reader is in tune with and that you succeeded on your document. So yeah, that's all I have to say on just why instructions are important and just a bit on TechCom in general, tips and advice for it. And unless there are any questions, I can pass it off to you, Caitlin, for our next part.
All right, sounds good. So from here, we've gotten an idea of why instructions, we need to know how to do them correctly. We've also gotten an idea of how difficult they actually are to write well when you're having to communicate to a wide audience, instead of just assuming that the audience knows what you're talking about. So we're going to try to apply some of the things we've learned and just see what you guys have retained out of anything that we told you, by taking the really bad example of the PBJ instructions and we want you all to suggest what you think could make them better, because half the time a tech writer's job isn't just writing from scratch, it's editing what's already there. So if you could move to the next slide, please. So what we're really wanting to look for are things such as our clarity, like, is our sentence perfectly clear, or are we relying on an idiom? We want to be concise, because as instructions need to be very fast, people get turned off by walls of text. And things like sectioning, which is more graphically orienting your information so that it's faster to read. Although if you see something else that's wrong, please add it. We are not limiting it to this. So next slide. Here's the bad instructions. So turn on your mics or type into the chat. Either one will work. What's some of the ways we can fix this?
And real quick, Caitlin, did you still want me to do this live as we take suggestions?
Yeah, I can. So if you'll stop screen sharing, I can pop mine up.
Yeah, sure thing.
Okay, you all can see this?
Yep.
Great.
First of all, numbered steps, since without them it can be confusing to see how far along you are.
Okay, let me see. So yeah, numbered steps are almost always important for instructions, because an unnumbered list will usually imply that the steps can be done in any order. They don't matter. But if the instructions do matter in what order they're done, you can seriously get somebody hurt. And if you write them wrong, you can actually get yourself and a company that you might be writing for sued. So always keep that in mind.
Michael made a suggestion to define the utensils that you'll be using.
Okay, neat. So that is always a great step. You can always include a materials section.
Wait, so there's legal ramification for having bad instructions?
Yeah. If somebody gets hurt following your instructions, and in a court of law, when it's examined, and it can be proven that they are badly written and nobody could have followed them correctly, you can get sued for personal damages. And if you wrote the instructions for a company and the company published them, they can get sued as well for, I think, civil damages.
Yeah, but when they, sorry,
Go ahead.
when they go through multiple channels before they even publish it, before, I mean, they can't just put out bad instructions and nobody go over it, right? Do they go through a process?
Well, they should. It's just you should try to eliminate as many rounds of the editing process as you can from your get-go. Basically,
I was just going to make a point that you're not always going to be working for large corporations. Sometimes you're going to be the only tech writer at a company, and people will be like, all right, you know what you're doing, go for it. So there should be channels that they need to go through first, but that's not always going to be the case. It's going to be very subjective to your position, where you're at, etc.
okay. So, what else? Oh, hey, look, I can actually pull up the chat here. Oh no, it won't let me. Never mind.
Try hitting participants. Sometimes that helps for me. It just pops both of them up.
Oh, now you want to give it to me? Really? Okay, there, great, thank you.
No problem.
Okay. I'm really interested in what company this is from, but that's kind of off topic. So.
Maybe for point 1, we can erase the word take and say something along the lines of spread the peanut butter on one slice of bread.
Yeah, the wording here is very much not concise, and it's not very clear either because it doesn't specify which side of the bread, if you can apply it in what kind of thickness, if it has to be even. You get no context clues at all about it. So maybe a better way to put it would be to spread the peanut butter on the flat side of one of those slices of bread so that the person doesn't try to put it on the top of it or something.
Oh, that would be a disaster.
No,
The peanut butter on the bread, on the side.
it's fine. Most of the time when you're writing instructions, just assume you're writing for the lowest common denominator, because everybody will feel okay about being like, oh, I'm smarter than this, but nobody likes feeling like I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, that would be my approach. Is like I think of them as being like a toddler. Like you would have to do everything for them. So the wording would be more, I don't know, to a second grade level or something.
Mm-hmm. You just have to be very careful with that, where you're making sure you're being specific with your wording, but not talking to somebody condescendingly. Like, hey, you're an idiot. You're not going to get this. We're like, hey, this is my job to help you. Let's move forward together.
Yeah, and I had to do this for class last semester too. Just look up a lot about plain language, and yeah, I think it doesn't have to be complex, but it doesn't have to be too simple. Pretty much as long as the vocabulary is good, and as long as the vocabulary is good and descriptive enough, it should be able to help anybody.
Oh, I got a question about the sentence structure. Like, do you always have to put a period at the end of the, like, you get the bullet points, so 1, 2, 3. When do you put a period, or when do you not put a period?
Actually, you do not have to put a period at the end of a bullet point or a numerical list.
Okay.
If the punctuation, basically, it's just if you're going to use it, make it consistent. But if you have a character count, it's perfectly fine to leave them off. Just make sure that your punctuation throughout the sentence, if you do need it, is very clear. But even if you have to put commas, semicolons, actual colons, like it doesn't matter. You do not have to put a period on the end.
Okay.
So that's just a stylistic preference.
Oh, I see. 'Cause I see so many different ways that they do it, and I don't know what is the more common approach.
I think a lot of the older professionals tend to use not periods because they were used to doing under character counts. A lot of newer writers use periods, but that's because we've been trained so much. Like you put a period at the end of your sentence. But yeah.
Default would be best to just add the period at the end of the sentence, in case you weren't sure, unless, like Caitlin said, you're worrying about a character count. I took a class with Dr. Flamia, and we had to write instructions for the University of Paris, and that's something she made sure to note, that we punctuated the end of every step of the instructions. So that might just be a stylistic choice, but
that I think it might also have to do with those instructions potentially were getting translated or could have been. If you're going to be going through, if you have an idea that your document is going to be going through another language, make sure your punctuation is absolutely perfect because that changes the meaning a lot when things are being shifted around. But if it's going to stay in your native tongue, you're probably safe.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I forgot about the translation.
Just real fast, I want to show something because my mentor had me do this assignment, and this was kind of what she suggested I should try to do. If you make something like this, you don't have to make it about how to make a PBJ, but make an instruction manual under 10 steps about something you enjoy. You can actually put this in your portfolio to show off to be hired. They like looking at things that are simple but show your writing skills, because if you can make the simple clear, you're probably not going to have a problem with things that are more complicated. As you can see, you can separate as many times as you want. This isn't even like 100% done, but you can also add cautions instead of having to take up valuable instruction space with things that you don't want somebody hurting themselves, but you don't. Some people might know it, some people might not.
yeah, I think that's a great example, Caitlin. The bullet points for the materials, there's plenty of white space. You have sample pictures provided. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, like I said, if you have room in your portfolio that you're wanting to flesh out, I would 100% suggest this, because this woman that's mentoring me has been on a lot of hiring boards, and she said this was a method they would often use to kind of weed people out if they had a lot of good people, was to see if they could write something simple. So let's go back to the presentation. I can just scroll through the last few slides. But so everybody's kind of getting the point of like basic things you can see to fix and go on immediately. Right, so obviously we have our thank you, so I'll let John take back over with his presidente style.
So thank you for that presentation, and it was good seeing that example too. I really like what you brought out. But overall, yeah, it was really just those workshops. You're able to learn a lot through them, through both the beginning and the end. And I hope that all of you did too. Between working in groups, working as a whole, and just the presentation as well. So, floor is open for questions, but overall, we hope you had a great time at our workshop. We'll be sticking around for a few more minutes, but yeah, if you haven't already, join our Discord, which was shown on the slide before. We're also on social media at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can reach us at ucf.ftc and ftc.ucf@gmail.com. Yeah.
You guys are totally cool with it. I'd love for everybody to turn their camera on so we can take a little group picture of everybody that was at the meeting. If you don't want to, no pressure.
I am down.
Oh my gosh, I should have thought this through. How do I take a picture?
You have a Mac by chance?
Yeah, I keep doing the Option 4 and it doesn't want to do it for me. So everybody just smile and I'll take a screen capture from the video later.
All right, great.
All right, 3, 2, 1, pretend picture click now. All right, thanks guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to end it off. We're able to stick around for a minute or two, but thank you guys for the presentation and for coming around.